And let's further revise any limitation that is in your way. So this is where I want you to take pen to paper and write out those old thoughts of the old nature. All you need to do is revise the old nature, but first become aware of it so you can change it with love. So maybe the old thoughts are like, I'm waiting. Maybe it's like what's happening out there is real. Maybe your awareness is just out there. Maybe even though your person talks to you on the inside, you still think the reflection of them is the real version. Maybe you're ignoring them on the inside. Maybe you are, not responding to them on the inside. You're not fully allowing yourself to be intimate with them on the inside, be one with them. You still feel like there's some separate entity. Maybe you still think, the 3D is in charge of you. There's an external authority. The 3D tells you who you are, but the 3D is just the mirror. It's like a mirror telling you who you are. It's just a reflection. But just write down those old thoughts. Like others have it, I don't. But then I want you to get clear on what you feel when you think these thoughts. This is how we can really check ourselves, right? When we think a thought like, well, it's not happening out there, so it must not be working. Something's not working. I'm doing something wrong. I'm not good enough. Well, if you feel the emotion that goes with those thoughts, you might feel tightness in the heart. You might feel just like total deflation in your energy. I mean, maybe you're not even in your body. You're just out there in circumstances. And that is your energy, your emotions telling you, hey, where your awareness is right now is just not your truth. So we want to bring our awareness back into our heart, into our belly, into, the root of the spine, into our feet. We want to feel our person as half our body or holding us. And let them bring you back into the truth. So go ahead and just write down just that old nature. Feel free to share. I'm going to share some of these older ones for a moment. And then we're going to keep going, okay? But let your person do this with you. Don't lose sight. Stay in the state of you two are together because you are. So, but that he will never come back now and too much time has passed. Okay, so too much time has passed. He's out there. It's been 2.5 years. I've been trying to manifest him back. And he's been in a relationship with 3P for 2 years now. Him and I dated for 10 months. Okay, so write those down. And I want you to remember that your subconscious is no respecter of persons. And what that means is in every moment you have a choice to renew the mind. Neville talks about how exciting this is. He's like, if you understood truly that your inner conversations are creating your circumstance, then every moment is so important. It's so precious because in every moment you can change that conversation. It does not matter how many years it's been going on out there. Right now, I understand that when something has been going on for a long time, there's built up emotion around it. There is a lot of momentum from continuing to put that awareness there. But the good news is that if you desire to be with your person still, well then that's actually what's done. That's your truth. No matter how, big the circumstances seem. But what will be required of you is to really commit to the inner world. I just saw a client emailed me the other day. And she said my favorite words. She was like, I finally went all in. She's like, I have so many success stories to share with you, but I just want to share I finally went all in. And whenever I hear that from a client, it's like, I know circumstances got bad enough that they finally were like, all right, we're going in. And when you really commit to that inner world, well, then you're unstoppable. Truly, truly, truly. Okay. It's also, I think, very helpful to remind yourself that it probably feels awful to think of them out there with another. And that's your emotions being like, hey, that's not true. So you even hear your person right now be like, I've been here this whole time. Please stop putting me out there. Please stop putting me out there. I'm right here. All right, I'm going to read a few more. Okay, and we'll keep going. Well, let me go to the next part and then I'll keep reading, all right? Oh, okay, yeah. So this is where now you want to write down, what did you create your person to think? Now, I'm going to reword this, okay? I would actually challenge myself in this and say that, yes, you can emanate out a version of your person that seemingly is, with someone else and doesn't want to be with you and they have to live out those assumptions. But I really do believe the truth of your person is within you this whole time and has been this whole time, right? But because of how creation works, like, you do have to allow yourself to experience that version, but they never left, right? That is your signature state. That is your home state. That is what's true. So even like, you can imagine a version of your person, and then yes, they'll seemingly play it out that, is hot and cold or doesn't want to be with you or is not the best version, really maybe unhealthy, different things like that, right? So they will need to play that out. However, the truth of them is always the version that feels expansive and loving and good. Okay. But I do want you to become aware of, like, what assumptions did I have of this person that, had to show up in this way, because this is what I have to revise. Right. And what assumptions did I have about others? Right. So it's, my examples are like, my person's out there, they're damaged, or they don't know how good they have it, or they've got their own limitations, they're cowardly, whatever it is, right? And the 3Ds against me, I see a lot of that, right, where the 3Ds against me, and I'm kind of scared of the 3D, and others are against me and I have to kind of force to get my way or react to get my way. Again, it's just external power is out there. And the action and scene that tends to play out, because these are just states, right? These assumptions, these old assumptions, are essentially old inner conversations that come with the state, and the state's always playing out, and everyone's a messenger of the state. But so in a state like that, you're probably going to feel impatient, or, the highs and lows all the time. You're like searching for information, or you're feeling desperate or trying to make something happen. You're let down because there's a lot of awareness in and out, in and out, in and out. And of course, you're going to get specific emanations from people based on that, right? Where, yeah, people will seem to be separate from you, and people will seem to be with others, and people will seem to be against you, and on it goes. But it's always a representation of the state that's dominant. And because manifesting happens in the now, just by changing that state right now, that's a renewing of the mind, the messengers will start to change. The reflection starts to change. Now, there might be an older reflection. Like, let's say you're doing this masterclass and you're coming back to it and you're really feeling good about the version of your person you want to be with. And then you see something on social media, or they show up and they're hot and cold again. Now, here's one of those pivotal moments. If in that moment you do not react because you hear them on the inside being like, babe, that's just the old version of me, all is well, and you no longer take that as some dictating authority, those moments are so miraculous, because that's when you fully be like, you get to know, it's like, all right, I've had a dominant state change. This used to set me off for days. Now I know that they're alive inside of me. And so maybe there's still that delay happening a little bit, but because you went right within and you talked to your person and, like, you're essentially unbothered, those are one of the most miraculous moments. And that to me is one of the most powerful manifestations, because then the next time you talk with them, you're going to see a brand new version. Okay. So write down that old nature. I'm going to keep going through the chat here. Feel free to share too, what you're writing with old nature. All right, so sharing a reaction. I walked away from a situation that was causing emotional hurt. I needed to take care of my own emotional state. Yeah. I'm unsure if my reaction to walk away ended the connection with my SP. I continue to affirm for the relationship. No. Walking away because something feels unsafe or just emotionally not right, you always go by what feels more really it's that feeling within, right? I would say that walking away can be absolutely a state of strength. Walking away can absolutely say that's a state of strength and confidence by saying, like, I'm not going to put myself in these situations, even though it's just an old emanation playing out. You know, I have enough confidence and strength in my ability to manifest the best version of myself and my person who's actually here with me right now, that it's okay to walk away, and it's okay to say, no, this is not appropriate. This is not okay. That comes from confidence. That comes from strength and courage. And then being able from a safe place to revise that version and revise, the whole situation where there was emotional hurt, reminding yourself what the emotional hurt means. But that's not an excuse for putting yourself in a situation that is damaging in some way, right? To some extent, we're all going to still react, and that there's a humanness there, and that's okay, right? And that's why you take this at your own pace in a way that feels good, and you never have to put yourself in a situation that does not feel good or does not feel safe. Just because it's an emanation of old assumptions doesn't mean you have to stay there. You can absolutely walk away and do what's right, but then yes, you would make the meaning, I'm taking care of my emotional state, and I'm going to bring through the version on the inside that supports that emotional state. And, I'm going to allow that situation to give me more clarity on what an emotionally supportive person would sound like, look like, be like. And I will allow that to be dominant within from a safe place until, my 3D will reflect that out once it's dominant within me. So I intend that makes sense. But, I say the same thing to clients, like, you can absolutely imagine your person to apologize to you. You can absolutely imagine the version of your person that, treats you with the utmost respect or does what they need to do, even though it's all an emanation. But, if it feels good to imagine a version of your person healing and working on themselves so you can feel more safe, right? Then I would say, like, that's a co-creation, and that's good and worthy. I intend that makes sense. Let me know if you have questions about that. I'm going to read a few more of these, then we'll keep going. My chest feels so cold and tight anytime the thought of time comes to my mind, and it immediately drags my energy down and takes hours sometimes to get out of that. Yeah, right, because you'll probably notice your energy is going out there when all of manifesting is about bringing your awareness back into your body, into your inner world, which is where your power is. There's no power out here. This is the letting the dead bury the dead. Like, we love the 3D world, but it's just an old emanation, right? At least for now, until things sync up. So yeah, that's how your body lets you know. It's like, bring your awareness back in, have those inner conversations, like feel your person, be like, come back in, I'm right here, I love you, right? And that's how you come back into the truth. And the second you start to feel better, you're back in your original state, signature state with your person. I feel the time factor and how it vibes me down. Yeah, right, it does. And again, that's a beautiful, really just, I guess, indicator, right, of your body being like, hey, when you put time out there as something against you, right, instead of flowing from you, you're not in your power. So let's bring it back within. Come back to your truth. Like, the only way to know truth in all of this is to go by your emotions, truly. Like, don't go by what I say, don't go by what Neville says. Test it all out, but then go by what feels true. All right, my person and I have been back together, and then he leaves me again like 20 times over the last year. This is the longest he has not contacted me in 3 years, so it's hard not to focus on the fact that I have to be doing something wrong this time. LOL, it's so frustrating. Here's my guess, okay? Oh, can you all see me and hear me? Someone says I froze. All right, just let me know. My connection seems very good on my end, so let me know. So if your person is back and forth, so that means hot and cold to me, right? Hot and cold always means that your awareness is going within and without versus continuing to create from the inside, right? So when people see hot and cold, I know that they're back together, but they're again letting their person dictate the circumstance, in the sense, like, they're letting the outer person, which is just the emanation, feed into limiting assumptions or be an emanation of limiting assumptions and, a part of you is kind of giving up your authority again. A part of you is, and I want to be clear on this. I think it's so important to have your person as like half your body and doing this with you, because I don't want you to feel like you're doing this alone. Like, I want your person on the inside being like, hey, bring your awareness back in. Like, that old version of me is showing up just so we can revise that old version. That's it. And it doesn't matter if this has been the longest we've been out of contact. Let's use this time wisely to bring through the version of me that would never do this to you. Like, I'm always consistent. I'm always reliable. Like, let's bring through the truth of me. Like, I don't want to be that version anymore, Okay. All right. And so I intend that makes sense, right? That, the version of your person can always pull you back in, and you're not doing anything wrong. However, yes, anytime you put your awareness out there and react to the old circumstance, and it's more dominant because it has more emotion and you're not replacing it on the spot, well, that will perpetuate it, okay? I intend that makes sense. All right, so let's keep going. All right. Let me know, too, that you can still see me and hear me okay. But now let's go to revision. Here we go. Here's where we can already anticipate so much relief. I, at this point in my life, love revision so much. I look forward to it because it's the only thing that brings me relief. And I intend you all start to feel the same way. So, as you look back on that old nature and everything you wrote down, it is time to change it. That's the only reason it's coming out. It's just the 3D world and even your beautiful, loving person, the outer version of them being like, hey, here's, that limitation that we still need to lovingly revise, but it's no big deal, right? Because remember, what you want wants you. They are you, right? And because consciousness is the only reality, what you do within is all that actually matters with them right now. Kind of hear them saying to you right now, like, yeah, like what we're doing right now is all that matters. I'm not out there, but let's go ahead and revise those circumstances because I know they don't feel good. I know they don't, because it's not about invalidating that, but it is using your creative power to transmute it.